Hello, my name is Dominic UNDERHAUL and welcome back to another episode of Moonbreaker. In today's episode we're going to be looking at our Astra list. We're going to be playing another round of it. We've tweaked it in the previous video and we're going to be taking this into a game, seeing what we can do and seeing how we can get a little bit more of value out of the list. So as Pax, I think it was, pointed out in the comments, we've got a very aggressive Astra list at the moment, and we're probably going to be looking at doing a more controlling one in the future, but for now we do have quite an aggressive list and we've even made it more aggressive as well. So let's see if we have any better luck this time round. Our opponent played really well last round, we didn't, and it just goes to show that you can absolutely lose games in Moonbreaker even if you've had many hundreds of hours of practice. I want to just have a look at the leaderboard. I think I'm in the late 1200s at the moment. Oh, 900s, okay. So you can see I'm nowhere near the top of the board, but what's also encouraging is that this is, you can see on this board here, there's loads of people here that have played so much of this game, but a couple down here, level 15 players who've got incredible win rates have made it all the way up. So I don't have as much time to play as a lot of other people do, so it just makes me really happy seeing that there's a level 100 players competing with the level 15s as well. I actually think it might have been Ralvarez that I lost to. Maybe we helped contribute getting into the top 10 spot, so well done there whatsoever. And also if I'm a cutie guy is I'm a cutie pie or something related to that, that would be awesome from good old League of Legends history. So for now we're going to jump into the game with the list. If you're enjoying the content, please do like, comment, subscribe, join us over on the Patreon in the description down below. As you may have seen in the video yesterday, we've now got additional Patreon content coming out every so often, so it's going to take a list that we played on one of the videos and have just a little bit of extra gameplay for that as well, outside of sort of the normal YouTube structure. So if that's something you want to support the channel, link down below for a couple of extra just different tiers of involvement there, and you also got a say on what happens to the channel. So for now I'll leave you to it and I'll see you once we're back in the game. Okay, we have found ourselves a game. We're against Burning Satyr. So against, we've got a Gardener Joe. I've not come against one of those in a little while. I think Joe's really interesting because sometimes it can be a really strong unit and really difficult to play against if they build up a little fortress. Other times we can just burn them down quick enough that it doesn't seem to matter too much. So this could be very interesting. I'm curious to see what happens here. Okay, we've only got 2 victory points on this side, so we can basically guarantee we know roughly where they're going to be heading. We won't have a line of sight here, I don't believe, so I'm just going to move up. We're going to make our first deployment. It's going to be Deadeye, who is just the go-to unit here. Because they don't have any range attack, we're just going to deploy forward, and we're going to deploy a Cinder Sphere forward as well. And this just means that we can get a more aggressive start onto them because we can move over here, we can activate Deadeye twice, and just push through a bit of damage early on. So, who are they going to deploy? Just a Thornvine? Okay, and who's coming over here is the question. We've got Stitchy. Okay, so they're going really defensive early on. So how far? We can get to there. What rate have we got here? Honestly, I think at this point there's not much to do other than just aggressively shoot here and basically restrict what they can do next turn. So we're going to just pop over here, take ourselves. In fact, if we deploy, this isn't going to be enough to do anything we really want to do here. So we're just going to deploy Broken Vengeance and get that additional resource. We'll go for the Into the Breach, take another shot here, take a shot here with Astra. Excellent, we made all of them, and because again they don't have any range, we can just move up aggressively and we can just pop a Cinder Sphere down as well. So honestly at this point we've got a really aggressive start. We didn't have a good line of sight onto their other things, and we're kind of happy for the plant to be lying around somewhere that we can't really get to very easily. So that's what we're going to try and do, is make the most of this situation and maybe try and see if we can pick up a bit of damage onto their Stitchy, or if we need to just go fully aggressive onto the enemy captain. Okay, so whatever this is likely what we're going to be attacking next. Blindside Resty, absolutely, that needs to die. So the question is, we can get 6, we can get enough damage to deal with that. So them placing all of these, that's fine, but there is a world in which we can deal enough damage to take this out of contention. So what we need to make sure is we've got enough for everything that we need here. So first we're going to move in here and get Cinder. We're going to release Ozos onto Broken Vengeance because that's the most important in terms of damage. We're going to move forward with our Astra and get, again, the best value that we can get onto this for line of sight with refresh abilities. We're going to move down over here to get the 100%. We can stay... In fact, we can stay here and still get 100, so that's perfect. That's what we want to do. But we could also actually just block their scoring slightly. So let's do that. We'll take this 100 here. This is the only one that has a real chance of missing. So if we get this, we're good. Perfect. And Broken Vengeance clears that out. We can just move back over here. We're now in a... Okay, excellent. I think our opponent realised that we're in such an aggressive spot there, we can keep applying pressure to them and keep, you know, just working our way through their units the turn that they play them. So because that was such a quick game, and I do think we had the tempo advantage, we had the damage advantage, they were going to have to use their resources to heal, and next time we were going to be able to kill Stitchy most likely, or something else in that front, as well as deploying another unit. So for now we're going to just go and queue up for one more game, see if we can get another one, and then decide if we want any tweaks from here. Because this is such an aggressive list, it can end games really early, so we don't get as much information. And it's actually, the start is very similar to the list we played about a week or so ago, maybe slightly longer, of like one of the best lists in the game. We've got the same opponent again, but it's very, very aggressive list, and it can end games super fast. So this is one of the things where, because of Astra's native ability, being able to refresh attack, you can really capitalise on it early on. So this is why it's not always going to be the most sort of long-winded interactive games. It's going to be something that, you know, can put that pressure on super fast, end the game as quick as you can, and it's good for sort of climbing ranks and that sort of thing. So for now, we're not actually going to have a good deployment onto anything here. So what I might just do is move more towards this direction and just try and take a pot shot, and then again go with our Deadeye deployment. We can go as aggressively as we like, and we're just going to deploy a Cinder Sphere in the same location and end here. This isn't, you know, this is a very similar looking setup, but it actually matters it's quite a big difference in terms of positioning, because they've got the terrain to hide around here, we've got the objectives further apart, so we're probably going to want to try and look at maybe moving over and deploying onto this next turn, but the ability to damage a Stitchy might just tip it over the edge into being worthwhile doing something different. So the big question is, how close can we get with Astra? I think we're going to be able to move, say, to about here, so I don't know if this is going to be enough. So we're just going to release Ozos onto ourselves here and take a shot. Okay, we did get it, which is nice. We're going to move over here. We do have the range for refreshing here as well, which is also nice. So we're going to pop Broken Vengeance down up here again, just get that extra resource. We may as well use our own range attack. We don't have anything to go onto, so we're just into the breach again. And now we can pop down here and make it a much higher chance to hit. And we could also just deploy another Cinder Sphere up here somewhere. Again, these range attacks don't really have good targets, so we'll just end the turn there and see if we can compete with our opponent. It is an interesting spot, because Stitchy is the hardest thing to deal with because they just have that constant healing. So it may be that we need to try and sort of move multiple units together, so move this up here, get Broken Vengeance to get the additional accuracy, attack down here, try and get through. And then we have things like this. So that movement is going to be insane next turn. So we actually need to deal with that as soon as possible. If we can't get line of sight using this, we might be in trouble. Okay, they do have all their Cinder used. The thing about that is that buffs blindside directly for our turn as well, making it much, much harder for us to get what we need. So, was that an angle onto Esley or not? No, it's not. So actually what we need to do here really is just stay as far away as possible. I believe this doesn't even include some of the other ranges. So we actually just want to be taking as many shots as we can. So go for this first. Funnily enough, we can't quite get what we want to here, so we'll just... Do we have a line of sight this angle? No. So we'll just take this and take a shot into here just to stop it transforming, I guess. We will into the breach. We'll take this shot again. We'll move our relevant units back. Have we got a good line of sight here on anything? Not really, so we'll just shoot here. Get the miss, that's fine. We'll move back in this direction. And then, to be completely honest, I'm trying to figure out where the safest spot to go is. And honestly, given that they're going to want to come for our units, we just need to play something super safe. We're on 2 objectives, they're only on 1. So I'm just going to pop Arya back down here. And we may as well release Ozos on... let's do it on Astra. There we go. So now we've got some buffs going. They've only got 1 point, we've got 2. Their fertilised soil is going to really offer a huge amount of movement range for blindside Earthly. So that's what we need to be playing around right now. Because this is it before it gets fast. You have to bear in mind, this is going to go up from here. So if they just use Stitchy to heal, there we go. And then they use the fertilised soil again, so they won't be able to deploy another thing, but they'll be able to fertilise soil. It's very likely that they're going to be able to get some huge damage onto our units. Oh, okay, this is an interesting choice as well. So if they attack with this, that's very good for them. Oh, this one attack actually does kill us a lot easier. They're going to ruin us basically. So depending on where they go with this, we might be able to clear this up still. It's going to be a challenge though, but at least we get an attack back here. And then they're going to go for this. So this is going to kill our... so it's going to kill Broken Vengeance. But then we might be able to take out Esley in return. And that's a big deal here because they've just got a lot invested into this. The most important thing is, can we get enough damage onto it? So we need 9. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we can do this in theory. So let's start with this. What's the accuracy looking like? First something... There we go. We can get to 61. 61 is perfect because it means with an Ozos on ourselves, we can just take this shot and get the activation. Astra can then into the breach. We can take this shot here again. We can move up here. We can even just move on to this if we want to, which might leave us in range of what we're hoping for. Yeah, we've still got 100% here. We can move Arya just... We can even just go in this direction and just... But I think we don't need to waste the Cinder actually. Maybe that was a mistake. But we could just use another Ozos on ourselves here. And then we need to find a way to add pressure to this situation. So Stitchy's a bit low. So I actually think maybe just popping a hit and run down over here, given that they don't have many things that can deal with this situation, could be really nice. And then we'll just grow some Cinder over here as well. We could also Maximus actually. I think Maximus is a good choice. So we're going to pop a Maximus in as well. Deadeye is just going to stay around here somewhere, just a little further away so we don't take objective. Sorry, don't lose the objective or take damage from these. And now we're again ahead on the board. We've got the same number of units in total, but this should work out okay for us. If they play another hit and run, we can actually damage through that. Okay, it's Noxie. Interesting. Okay, so we just ignore Noxie most of the time, I think. To be completely honest, I mean, sure, if you do that, do we hit back? Okay, we don't hit back, which is interesting. So we can just hit this and run away, but we're okay with hit and run just sat there. Most of the time here, if they don't use their resources, we just want to take out Stitchy, and I think we've got enough tools to do so here. If they go for loads of Scattervines, I don't think we're really that bothered. I mean, it's not something that we particularly are worried about. We can just stick something like Crash down in a future turn, or Tali and Esley ourselves, and just go a little bit ham. Yeah, so Stitchy moving up, that's probably the best thing we can have here. We're going to attack this and just move around this direction to make things difficult for them. Okay, so we get this hit and kill that. Move right on top of Joe and sort of block them in a little bit. Or the other option actually, how far can they move? So, okay, we're just going to be short of getting on top of each other here, so we'll send Maximus round to get this damage in. We'll move back over here, we'll into the breach again, pop over here to get a couple more damage done, and move in this direction. We can get Deadeye in to take this out. We can pop over here, get 100%. And then, to be honest, just move back over here. Arya can just... Arya just wants to be safe, I think. Given that they don't have any other healing and they're filling up with Scattervines, I think we just shoot for this. We'll grow Cinder over here. We obviously have got this movement. I think we're just, again, popping over here. And then, if we play Blindside Wesley and Shrapnel down somewhere close to each other, so like Blindside Wesley there, and not Shrapnel, Drum Dancer Talali, then I think we're in a really good spot at being able to potentially try and end the game. Okay, so this combo is utterly ridiculous in terms of damage output, because we can get up to, what do we get up to? So we go to 6 attack with Pummel, which takes us to 12 attack, and then if we can refresh with Astra again, that's 24 attack just on that combo itself. So they're obviously getting Toxoids out. It's mad to me that the Toxoids can attack straight away. I feel like they should have summoning sickness, but that's fine. It is what it is. But it all depends on what they deploy and if they leave anything free in terms of us being able to get onto Gardener Joe. Because if they do, we can end Gardener Joe with just this combo alone and a bit of Cinder, as long as we can spend everything efficiently. So if they deploy behind, that's a mistake. In front is a good choice. Okay, so this is going to be a healing option. They've got 2 Cinder left, 2 leadership left rather. Okay, so we've actually won this game now, if I don't play like an idiot. There is always a very good chance that I play like an idiot. But we should be able to end this as long as we use our Cinder efficiently. And we've got a bunch of extra Cinder Spheres around if we need to go get them. So this should work out absolutely fine. So the first thing we're going to do is Battle Frenzy here. So hopefully that should go off now. So that costs 3. We will... Because does this one generate 2? How much is that one? That one is 2, so Maximus can give us that one. So if we just spend Stillness here and pop another Cinder Sphere down over there, then we can move into here, get our Pummel on, get Maximus to pop over here, gain 2 additional Cinder, shoot here for the sake of it, move back, move over here, into the breach again, and just absolutely annihilate that Gardener Joe. That's 24 damage from Blindside Wesley in 1 turn. It's utterly ridiculous. So, that did go very well. The only things of thinking about this is, you know, how can we deal with some of the things that we need a bit of AoE for? So if we look in our list, the only real AoE we've got is Shrapnel and then Crash as the super late game option. I think Crash might be too expensive for this list. We're trying to play something really aggressive and Crash might not quite do it. Looking at their list, I do think we need to try and fit in a little bit more AoE and just figure out what we do if our opponent... So those plants are actually going to become a problem for us. So we can't deal with the plants very efficiently. If we don't have a good combat turns, that's going to start becoming a problem. So I think Crash is out. Shrapnel's a maybe. Actually, I think Shrapnel's out. It's not a very aggressive unit, and we've made this to be a very aggressive list. So who can do a good job? Scattervine isn't bad. It finishes things off very easily. It's a good sort of additional bit of resource. Both Pyro and Detonia are good, but they kind of fill the same gap as each other, so we probably can't consider both. I actually think Amplifier Bytor, so we're going for a really aggressive list, we want something to help finish things off. That could be a really good finisher for that style of list as well. And to be honest, in this one I'm almost tempted to go back off to good old Quetzali, but I think I'm looking at Axel Pyro or Detonia. I think maybe Detonia. It's less damage but a little bit more utility, and that's going to be where we're going to continue from there. So that's going to be our list for the third and final version of this video. Funny enough, Detonia used to be unplayable with the old resource system where you had to choose between using your Cinder to deploy or to use abilities, and now she's absolutely fantastic. The new Cinder system is great. So here we have it. There is that game. We're going to be going into the third one later on this week. If you've enjoyed it, please do like, comment, subscribe. Like I said earlier, you can join us on the Patreon. There is going to be that additional content on there every so often. So like I said, Zuna control list going up yesterday. And most importantly, thank you so much for watching and have a good day.